Hello everybody and welcome to Against the Fence. This is the place to be if you're obsessed and passionate about the UFC. And I'm back with another tough review, and as you can see by the thumbnail, Conor's in trouble. Conor's in big trouble. He's 0-6 now. All I can say about Conor is get that jet ready. And obviously we've seen by the thumbnail he's lost another one. He's 6-0 now. Michael Chandler and then veterans are 6-0 up. And get that jet ready, Conor McGregor. I'm only joking. So, what can we say about Conor McGregor now? Like, we've got some questions to ask for the chat. Hopefully, I'm going to give you time to obviously sort of get in. But I've got a few main questions to ask the chat, and just we need to get and dive into a few things. But I'll jump onto the side screen anyway. I hope you're all doing well, and don't forget to drop a like on the video if you haven't done so already. Anyway, moving on to the side screen. So we are talking about Lee Hammond against Kurt Hollenberg. And Lee Hammond is got a professional record of 5 wins and 0 losses, and Kurt is 19 wins and 7 losses. And Kurt has had 2 stints in the UFC. So he first appeared in the UFC in 2013, had a couple of fights, and then appeared on a Dana White Contender Series in 2017. And then that got him back into the UFC, and then he got released again. And now this is his third and we got to say a third and final chance of trying to get back into the UFC. But yeah. Wales, New Jersey, welcome in, sir. Hope you're doing well. But yeah, as we see, as I said a second ago, Conor McGregor is 6-0 down, and Michael Chandler is 6-0 up. Then veterans are just taking over. What can I say? Obviously, last week I said, what is Conor going to do? Will he get involved a little bit more because it's his guy in Lee Hammond? Obviously, Lee does train with Conor over at SBG and all them guys. Is Conor going to put all of his heart and soul into Lee? And can he get that most important and all-important win? Will he? Won't he? We all know, as I said, that me personally, I thought that Conor was going to actually properly get involved with Lee. And let's just start us off then, how the show started. It started off with Conor actually intensely getting involved in the training sessions. Usually he lets his coaches get involved. He's there on the sidelines, but he doesn't really intend to get involved. But as I said last week, I reckon he would get involved, and he did. He got involved quite heavily in the training sessions with Lee Hammond, as I thought he would. But yeah, this was Conor's number one guy, and obviously we all know he lost. But what can we say? What can we say? If anyone's watched the episode, how did you take the fight? Because when we break down the fight in a second, I was actually very, very surprised with how good Lee was. I'm not gonna lie. I'll hold my hands up. Lee was actually really, really good, and he surprised me. Really surprised me. But before we get into the fight, obviously, I have been saying from the early doors, episode 1 and episode 2, that it's very, very strange and very odd the way that Conor McGregor doesn't show up to the weigh-ins. And does anyone else feel that that's a bit weird? You're a coach on the Ultimate Fighter, and you're not turning up to you're meant to be the coach, right? You're meant to be there and support your fighters. And bearing in mind, this is Lee who trains with him as well. That's even worse. So someone that you've actually been in the gym with, you train with on a weekly, daily basis, and you're not turning up to the weigh-ins to support your fighter. Very strange. So we ask ourselves a couple of questions, and feel free to jump in, chat. Like, what kind of example does that set your team? Like, you're not turning up to the weigh-ins. Again, most people think, oh, it's only the weigh-ins, but again, it's there to support your fighter. Like, week in, week out, Michael Chandler is there, and he's cheering on his fighter when he steps on the scale. When they've got their fighters, he's giving them a bit of a cheer. Again, that gives you a bit of a boost, right? You've got some of the nostalgia of Michael Chandler giving you like a boost, and that's got to give you something, right? And again, like the nostalgia of Conor McGregor, if he's going to be there cheering you on, again, it's going to give you a bit of a boost going into the fight, no? But again, that begs the question, does Conor McGregor really care? Does he? Like, I've got to ask myself that question. Like, why has Conor McGregor done The Ultimate Fighter? And again, why? Why has he? Because I don't think he's put 100% into this. And the only time I've actually seen him get involved was for his own fighter in Lee, but then he doesn't even show up to the weigh-in. So again, what kind of example does that set? Is he just like gone in the Ultimate Fighter because he's going to be on the TV every Wednesday? Like, honestly, I do not know why Conor. But again, before I jump on to my next point, as I said a second ago, if he had intentions about coming back and fighting, we all know Conor McGregor, he can talk his way into any fight, right? Why is he done the Ultimate Fighter for when he can just jump into any fight? And he's not, and we all know he's not in the testing pool. So why on earth has Conor McGregor jumped into the Ultimate Fighter, where he's got to put a lot of time, a lot of dedication into obviously training the fighters and obviously using his team elsewhere when they could be training other guys, but they're there at the Ultimate Fighter training facilities. I really don't get it. I really, really don't get it. Yeah, 100% agreed to build his own fight, but he's not in the testing pool, is he? So he can't really be building his own fight when he's not prepared for his own fight, when he's not in the testing pool, is he? So if he wanted a fight, he would have been in the testing pool from the get-go. But he's not, is he? So God knows why. That's the question I've always asked myself. Why is Conor McGregor done the Ultimate Fighter? Because, yeah, I know it will the bigger picture is it builds up the fight, but the dedication and things you've got to go through. Look at Michael Chandler, for example. Obviously, we can all see he's dedicated, and each and every fighter that he's had, he's trained very well, dived in on what they need to do, helped them all the way, even when they've won the fight. He's got his arm around them. It baffles me. But I do get your point about building up the fight. But if he was there to fight and ready to fight, then he would have been in the testing pool, right? Anyway, let's jump onto the fight, which is obviously on the screen. So we've got Lee Hammond. He's got 3 KOs and 1 submission on his resume. He's a very long-rangey fighter, very well-rounded. And like I said before, he does train. He does. And as I said a second ago, he does train obviously with Conor McGregor. And as I said a second ago, I did see a difference in slightly coaching style of Conor. He actually did get involved. It was good to see sort of him getting involved. But yeah, we all know how that turned out. But anyway, jumping on to Kurt Hollenberg then, who he's got 1 KO and 3 submissions on his resume, so the reverse of Hammond. He has obviously previously fought a featherweight, and he has fought some top names in the UFC, and some of them have been at featherweight. So you've got Ronnie Barcelos, again, top contender. Shane Burgos, Thiago Moises. Again, these are top names in the UFC. Obviously, we've got Shane Burgos that's jumped over to the PFL. But again, at the time, he was a ranked featherweight. So these are top names that the Curtis fought. Again, I know they're veterans, but again, it's just crazy that the experience that these veterans have, and going in against these up and coming prospects, it's all about the knowledge about his game. But yeah, as I said, I was very, very surprised with Lee Hammond and what he did in the fight. But a little bit on Kurt, he does like to get in your face from the get-go and doesn't let you settle. So again, I don't think when we get into the fight, he did not get a chance to do that because Lee took him down from the get-go. But let's jump into the fight as I'm talking too much about it anyway. As I said, Lee surprised me so much in this fight. From the get-go, took Kurt down and smothered him really. And just didn't let him get up. Every time Kurt tried to get up, Lee just had an answer for it. And my hands are up. Lee impressed me so much in this fight. Honestly, he was down to a T, spot on. He was so good. And that was round 1. Kurt didn't really manage to have any offense, nothing much, and that was round 1. All of round 1 was Lee Hammond on top of Kurt, landing them ground and pound. Some good elbows he landed in that last minute of the first round. That takes us on to round number 2 then. Again, the same thing happened from the get-go. Lee managed to get the takedown, managed to stay on top. Kurt had no answer for it. Until we see there in the bottom picture where there was a little scramble where Lee decided to go for a heel hook, but then kind of gave it up, and that was near the end for Lee. Gave the heel hook up, and Kurt managed to jump on him, jump into that full mount position and get that guillotine and get the squeeze and got the second round submission. And as you see, we all can see there, obviously the thumbnail and here as well, how devastated Conor McGregor was. And as I said before, like the coaching style and the way he deals with things, that one hurt and that one stung. But shouldn't that have been from the get-go for most of his fighters? Like, why is that one hurt? Just because he trains with him? Or shouldn't every fight when his fighter lose hurt? Who knows? But as I said before, Conor goes 6-0 down and Chandler goes 6-0 up. If anyone's seen the fight, let us know. But yeah, I was very impressed with Lee. He was literally about 1 minute and 30 seconds away from pulling off Conor's first win and getting him on board. And I would have kind of loved to have seen it, because what would that have done to his team? It would obviously have given his team massive motivation going on. Obviously, I know they wouldn't have obviously won the series, but again, it would have just been nice to see Conor's reaction to see if he'd won. But yeah, what more can I say? Let us know your thoughts in the chat. But let's get into the most important thing, which obviously was kind of leaked last week. The little argy-bargy between Conor McGregor and Michael Chandler. And as we see, I don't know if you can see it very well, but look at Ryan Bader there in the background. He's smiling. He's loving it. Look at Ryan Bader. He's absolutely loving it. He's smiling away there. Look at him. He's loving it. But yeah, obviously, there was a little bit of Conor McGregor at the end of the fight was going, "You right there over there, Bellator? You right, Bellator?" Obviously winding up Chandler. But Chandler was like, "We're going to keep stacking them up. We're going to keep stacking them up." And he's like, "I put the work in. You don't. I don't know why you're here." And again, that begs the question, as I said before, like, Chandler knows that he's putting the work in. Chandler knows he's got the right team and the way he goes about each fight and puts the dedication in each fight, each training sessions. And Conor McGregor, for me, has only done that in one fight, and that's this one. And to be fair to him, like I said, Lee had a great fight and put up a great fight. It's just the knowledge of these veterans and the little slips in the game of this sport that we love. And this is why we love the sport. Lee was a minute away from winning a fight, and then Kurt gets a guillotine. Little things, little margins of errors in these games are massive consequences on them. And as I said before, this is why we love the sport. But yeah, as I said, Chandler was just saying they're going to keep stacking up the wins. I believe him. I honestly do. I've said from the get-go that Chandler's a great coach. But there's only 2 fights left now. And as I've said before, if you're still in the chat, if there's any fighter on Conor's team, can you see getting a win? Who's it going to be? Or is he not going to get a win? And is it going to be a whitewash, an absolute drilling from Michael Chandler? Get that jet ready. See you later, Conor McGregor. But yeah, let's get into a few talking points to do with that then. So, as I said a second ago, why is Conor done this? Because I don't see why. Because he's not got the dedication that Chandler has. And just before both Conor and Chandler left the octagon, Chandler went over to Conor's team and started high-fiving his team, saying, I feel bad for you. You've got this as a coach. If I was your coach, I would have your backs." And it's little things like that. And again, I agree. I 1,000% agree. If Chandler had, even if he did have the prospects, I think he would have had a still decent case to fight the veterans. And I kind of wish it was the other way around, if you know what I mean. I would love to have seen how Chandler dealt with the prospects against the veterans. But then, would Conor have really cared if he would have got the veterans because they've already fought in UFC? Would he have cared? Again, these are all questions we've got to ask ourselves. And I'll take us back to the main screen anyway, just while we go through the last couple of points that I do have for you. Miles New Jersey said, "Do you reckon it will still be 6-0 if the coach's staff was reversed?" I think so, yeah. But bearing in mind, obviously, I was about to get into the next fight, which is Jason Knight versus Lando Quinones. And I did say for the lightweights, Cody was one of my favourites to go all the way, but Jason Knight is one of them guys that has just got that will to win. He's got that grit and determination. But Landon is got some knockout power. So I'm interested to see that fight. But we all know that Jason Knight can take a crack. Obviously, he's been over doing bare knuckle boxing, so we all know he can take a crack, and that's the one I kind of worry for, because out of them, obviously, I said Timur Valiev was one of the ones that I sort of stand out for the bantamweights, and when he fought, I was kind of worried, like, would he win or would he not? But obviously, he got the victory, and another one for me, Jason Knight. Hopefully, he can get the victory, because I do like Jason Knight. He's just one of them gritty fighters that will just stand and bang and just loves to fight. So I mean, I can't wait to get into that one next week. But yeah, the questions that we've got to ask ourselves: why has Conor come back? Obviously, 1,000% agree with to build the fight with Chandler. But if he wanted to build the fight with Chandler, why is he not in the testing poll? We don't even know if they're going to fight at the end of this, because, as I said, they're not in the testing poll. Conor, that is. We all know his coaching ways and coaching style is not obviously been good, because he's 6-0 down. Is he the worst coach in TUF history? The question has got to be asked, right? Is he the worst TUF coach going? 6-0, doesn't care, don't show up to weigh-ins, doesn't back his fighters. Obviously, the only fighter he sort of got involved with was Lee, a little bit. And again, props to Lee for sort of fighting a great fight. But again, there's little margins of error in this game that cost you. Is there going to be 7-0 next week? Who knows? Who knows? But yeah, that's me basically, because the questions I've asked, the questions I wanted to ask, that is basically me. So hopefully I can join you next week, obviously for that Jason Knight fight, and hopefully is it going to be 7-0? Is Conor McGregor going to get on that jet and just sod off? But yeah, join us obviously tomorrow for the breakdown show. Obviously UFC 290. Obviously we got Volkanovski versus Jair Rodriguez. Can't wait to break that fight down. And then you got Alexandre Pantoja versus Brandon Moreno. Can't wait to break that fight down. Obviously Robert Whittaker, Duplessis. Some great fights on that main card. I can't wait to break it down. Hopefully see you there for the breakdown show, and then obviously see you for the massive watch along that we're going to have at the weekend at UFC 290. So I've been your boy Ash. This has been your. Just quickly, I see a comment just at the top of my right corner. Matthew, welcome in. So I thought possibly he might, or thought possibly the worst of all time by numbers. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Just as I'm going to cap it off, but do you think he's the worst coach going? Like 6-0 down now, potentially going to be 7, because Jason Knight's a very, very tough veteran. But again, you just got to ask yourself, why has he done this? Because the dedication, you got to have dedication in it. You got to put you do have to put your all into it, like to be a tough coach. I don't know. But as I said, thank you all for your comments. Hope to see you for the breakdown show tomorrow, and then for the watch along at the weekend. I'll see you soon.